Hello everyone, this is Shoddy Noctiles, and tonight I figured I'd do another continuation of Brutal Blue Dragons. I'm just listening to some ambient bonfire music in the background from 14, and I'm just talking in a clan chat I recently joined. I figured I'd give it a try and reach out to people socially on Runescape like how I've done in 14, so figured it'd be at least worth giving it a try. Let's see here. Dude, I could not with this. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh yeah. And rock bolts. Hello, whoever just joined the stream. Just doing some Brutal Blue Dragons right now. Um, mm, Hope you enjoy. Alright. See, I getting a couple more viewers now, at the very least. Let's see here. Put this here, right there. I cannot. Efficiency escape. I could, dude. Yeah, I think people also fletch when doing agility as well, so I'm not surprised, to be honest. Oh, hello, Van Emret, if I'm pronouncing that right, or Evermet. Um, I just, I stream multiple games other than RuneScape, or, first of all, I hope your evening's going well, And second, yeah, I just mainly stream because I like streaming different games. Like I do 14 at times, or Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 12, and recently I've been doing old school RuneScape because I recently got back into it after a 2 to 3 year hiatus, and I figured I'd just stream because I mean I like sharing gameplay with other people, and I like to also be social with other people as well. So I figured like you know, if people wanted to like look at my content or you know, just had any questions or, you know, just wanted to see what I was doing in you know, RuneScape in particular, I guess. You know, I could just share that, some of my experiences. Uh yeah, I just mainly do it for fun. I have an eBay business as my main job, so I don't really stream for revenue, but yeah, I just figured it's just a fun thing to do. So, I appreciate you asking though. Yeah, and as you can tell, I'm fighting brutal blue dragons right now. They're not the most popular dragons that people do, because as you can see, I'm the only one here, but, you know, I figured since I got a blue dragon's task, I figured it'd be nice to do. I haven't done Dragon Slayer 2 yet, so I can't do the, Valkyroth boss, I think it's called. But, yeah, these are quite plenty, and welcome back to the old school RuneScape community. Love the relaxedness over many tweeters who seem quite intense. Oh yeah, people can get a little bit crazy about, well, especially nowadays. Like I think back in the day, people were a little bit more chill about RuneScape as far as like, you know, they played the game more for fun, I guess. No worries. Yeah, I I think back in the day people used to like play the game more for fun, and I think people still do that. But I think nowadays a lot of people get worried about, you know, XP waste an hour, or they're trying to farm gold for bonds. And I used to do that as far as to pay my membership, because back in the day, money wasn't as readily available since my business hadn't fully taken off as of yet. But I recognized when I did that, it kind of made the game unfun because it boiled down to how much gold can I make an hour to pay bonds, and that's just, it's not really a good way to play the game. I know some people might also try to farm for bonds too, because like if they have like 3 to 5 different accounts, like if they have an Iron Man account, if they have a pure account for PKing, and they have 2 other accounts for random stuff, you know, that can be $50 to $60 a month for membership. So I mean, I can see why some people are really into like farming gold. But what I would like to see Jagex eventually do, just because other MMOs I've noticed, like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, do really well with it, is if they could. Oh wow, I forgot to put my prayer on. If they could. Oh, what was I gonna say? If they could allow multiple characters like on one account, where you could have like a pure, an Iron Man, a Bronze Man, you know, just 10 different, you know, account types on, or character types on one account. I think that would really help a lot with mitigating like the need to feel like you have to farm for bonds, because you know, then that way people can enjoy their content without having to just spend as much time grinding for gold, I guess. I mean, 'cause technically people could also, you know, pay $11 for each of those accounts, but I don't know, I think it'd be a nice poll to see that people could do. Um, just because it'd probably just attract more players in general, because of that way, you know, they could have, you know, all different kinds of characters, and they could have it on one account. it'd be far more economical, and I think people would it'd probably benefit the game in the long run. I mean, it might hurt Jagex's pockets like in the short term, but I think in the long term it'd really help them out because they probably would get more players who would be interested in playing due to the accessibility being more readily available. I mean, there might be some like technical issues they may have to overcome, but I mean, I don't see a problem with being able to access a main menu and being able to access different characters from that one account. So I'm sure they could figure it out, but it's something. It'd have to be something to see if the community would want that too, because 'cause the thing is, like, there are a lot of people who play on 4 to 5 different accounts at once. I don't know if I could do that. That'd be a little bit crazy, but you know, maybe people would you know, they might have difficulties with playing on multiple, like having all their characters on one account because then they could only play on one account. So, I mean, they could always just do it to where, you know, if you want to have multiple screens all at once, you can pay those accounts separately. But if you want to save a bit of money and just have all those characters on one account, I think that would really benefit people. Uh, Again, that just want to more easily afford the game. Because, you know, I don't think $11 a month for this game is bad. Like, I really don't. Like, I pay around 13 for 14. I think it's worth it. And I think it's sort of worth it in old school now. Like, at least with the content they've added, I think it's worth it. But yeah, I really think that you know, to attract more people, definitely um, just having the ability to create an Iron Man for with no additional cost to the player, um, I think would be nice. But yeah, I know that was a little bit long, but I just figured I'd share that because you know, I've been playing this game for years, and like, you know, back in 2005, and you know, it's really a fun game. It's just, you know, though, of course, there are always, you know, there's room for improvement. So, but yeah, thanks for asking. Or at least, I appreciate you enjoying the stream so far. Yeah, as you can tell, I kind of enjoy conversing, as it were, or at least sharing my thoughts. But yeah, so about yourself, do you, if you feel comfortable with this, do you play old school a fair amount, or do you mainly do it for just fun, or Iron Man, or PKing, or Bronze Man, or what do you mainly like about the game? All right. I see. Is HCIM just your player name, or is that an acronym for something? Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, regarding the last one, regarding the pay to play overwhelmed part. Yeah. There is quite a bit of content in the membership portion of the game. I can see how it can be. Oh, hardcore Iron Man. I see. Oh wow. So you really go deep. Yeah. I They've really added a lot to Old School ever since it first came out in I think 2012. Like I think I started playing the game even before Zora came out, like even before Blowpipe. So uh yeah, I mean some of the new changes have been nice. Like I think the Blowpipe has been a good range weapon. I've liked the ballista. Uh, I like the catacombs are all right. I mean, it's pretty nice. You can fight some of these dragons more readily. Grand Exchange was a decent update. I know not everyone was happy about that, but I mean, it does help rebalance thoughts. Uh, I think the game right now. I mean, I haven't seen all the latest new stuff. Like, I know there's like Theater of Blood. And there's something called the Nightmare boss, which looks pretty neat. I was watching a video. I don't know what the guy's YouTube name is, but he had this thing about the D Long Boys, where there was like 10 or 20 of them just like going at Nightmare, and that was pretty fun to watch. I think the main thing with RuneScape, or at least Old School now, I don't even for me, it's not so much about the content as much as it is just people maybe. I don't want to say that most people in old school are antisocial, because like I know like there's a fair amount of people in clans and stuff, and some people like voice chatting and stuff, but I don't know. I just think that whenever I go to the Grand Exchange, whenever I try to say something, I think back in the day, like people would more readily respond, but now it's you ask a simple question and most people either don't say anything or they're just trying to sell stuff, I guess, yeah, or like uh, buy stuff. Um, I don't know. I think it could also be because coming from Final Fantasy 14, usually when you talk to anyone in the game, they're usually going to respond to you. Um, which is one thing I've liked about 14. Even though sometimes we have a bit of a content drought, people always seem pretty social. So yeah, I think that's the thing too. I don't think 14 has as many bots. I mean, there are bots that do run dungeons and stuff, or there are gil sellers, like there are gold sellers and RuneScape. But yeah, I think that's the thing too with the bots is when some people get too crazy about efficiency, where it's like, oh, like I'm not gonna want to chop logs for 10 hours, I'm gonna write a bot to do it. The problem with that is you're kind of cutting out the social aspect of the game, where like back in the day, when you used to like wood chop or even fish lobsters in Catherby, I don't know, people used to like communicate with one another. I mean, yeah, it could have gotten boring after a while, but people found a way to make it interesting by just socializing. Um, and oh, I think I forgot to use my super strength. But yeah, or yeah, combat potion. But yeah, I think I think with too many people getting too crazy about efficiency, it just causes people to get in their own little world rather than focusing on what really matters about the game, or any MMO in general. Because I mean, this isn't. Let's look at this. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Um, with Final Fantasy 14, a lot of people are also in their 20s or 30s. The only difference is, I think there is a larger female population that plays 14, and that may also help with the social aspect. Because, like, a lot of the girls in the game tend to be chatty. But, I mean, the guys are chatty as well, so, I mean, it could just be the game culture in general. Like, because, like, 14 is more of like an anime kind of game. Um, but oh, hello, Peter Mason. I hope you're enjoying the content so far. I've just been talking to another a viewer at the moment, talking about the state of RuneScape at the moment, or at least Oldschool. I'm recently came back after a hiatus from playing Final Fantasy 14. They're releasing Endwalker here soon at the end of this year, but I figured, while I was waiting for the expansion and for part 2 of 5.5, I figured I'd play Oldschool again for a bit, and yeah, and Van was asking me why I, stream, and I just told him I just like being social when I play games. So, I know it's a very simple answer, but it's just, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I know Brutal Blue Dragons aren't the most popular dragons, but they're a good tanking experience at least, so. I haven't played it. Oh, I see. Yeah, Final Fantasy, I've liked the series in general. I know a lot of people really like 7, but it hasn't been my favorite. I will say, though, I really enjoy Final Fantasy 12, and 14 is probably one of my favorites, but I also enjoy the first 2 games as well for the Game Boy Advance, Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Final Fantasy 3 wasn't too bad. I haven't played Final Fantasy 9, but I heard some people really kind of like that game with getting back to the basics. So, and I know 8 has like a card draw mechanic of some sort. So, but yeah. So I will say, well, first off, I hope your evening's going well too. I would ask that to Van. Uh, and when I first got into Old School back, I think it was like, wow, 4 to 5 years ago, I think. It was definitely before the blowpipe came out. I think back then I wanted to PK a bit more because I was a big fan of PKers, like, or at least enjoyed watching. Oh, thanks. I definitely appreciate it. Um, I like watching. I liked watching PK videos from YouTubers like Kids Range, and I watched a bit of Elven Mage, but mainly Kids Range. And I don't know. I just thought PKing would be a fun thing to do, so I actually started off making a mage to range 1 defense hybrid peer. I remember when I first finished Desert Treasure and I casted my first Ice Blitz and used my magic short bow. I thought I was pretty neat, to say the least. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting time. I really enjoyed doing that, and then after a while, I kind of wanted to try out a range tank and get access to like Mystic and stuff, and then eventually I wanted to get into Void, and then eventually I wanted to get into Barrows, and one thing led to another, and I think as I went through all like the PK stages or PK count levels, I just was like, okay, I got the 45, 43 Darkbow spec out of my system with the special effects in the video. So it's like, okay, I think I'm just gonna make a main now. But that was, of course, 2 to 3 years when I came back. Because after playing 14, I recognized, how much fun PVM or story content can be as well. So, oh, so regarding the Slayer, I've always kind of wanted to get 85 Slayer. Like, I know Abyssal Demons are no longer the best, like, money per hour or whatever at the moment, but I mean, it's always been like a goal for me because even back in the day, like, when I saw those Abyssal Demons and like there are people getting like whips from them, I was like, man, that is so cool. But I know now, like, you got like Rune Dragons, and you got Valkroth, and you got Theater of Blood and Nightmare and all that stuff. And I know, like, some people will say, why do Abyssal Demons when you can do that? But I don't know, I just, sometimes to me it's not even just like the money per hour, it's just like, sometimes I just like doing content because it's fun. It's like, I don't know, it's like, it's why you should mainly play the game, to have fun, right? So, because, like, if you're not having fun, then I don't know why you're playing the game. But, but yeah, I know some people also try to play this game as a job as well, or there will be some videos where people will say, if I did this from 9 to 5, this is how much I would make after a month or a year. And, that's all fine and dandy, but I don't know. I think, for people who play this game like a job, like, you know, they want to do it, that's fine, but I just see it as just a fun game to play, and again, like, I think it's helpful if you pay just a regular membership, like how you would do with any other MMO, where you just pay the $10 to $12 per month, because then it really takes off the, okay, I have to make this much to pay my bond in the next 14 days. And so that way you can just actually just enjoy the game for what it really is. Because then, again, you don't have to focus on spending your cash stack as much, which I think is a good thing. Because then, like, you can actually, like, work towards getting, like, gear upgrades, like I actually did recently. I got Guardian boots, which is like 2 mil or 1.5 mil, and then I got my Brimstone ring, which is like 2.5. DFS. I remember when this. Oh, hello, Magnus. I hope you're having a good day, or a good evening rather. I Yeah, I remember back in the day, even 2 to 3 years ago, DFSs were, I don't think they were quite 18 to 20 mil, because I think they had gone down when Brutal Blacks came out, but they were still like 10 to 12 mil, so I never really was able to get one, or at least keep it. But when I came back, just a month or so ago, I noticed the Dragon Fire Shield was only like 2.5 mil, or 2.8 or whatever. And I was like, oh man, this is a really good bargain, because like now I can actually comfortably afford the shield. So For a stream. Oh, thank you, Peter. I hope I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you have a good rest of the evening. Yeah, thanks for watching. Um, yeah, I would say nowadays, some stuff is definitely more affordable and old school now than it used to be, which isn't bad. Um, if it allows some content to be more readily accessible, then it can be helpful. Um, and then as far as like the stuff that's like super expensive, like primordial boots, this or some of the new stuff they've come out with, like the Gaussian rapier and what else? The Virtus scythe, I think it's called. I mean, you don't really need all that stuff. I mean, it can be helpful, but I mean, you could do just fine with like the traditional best or at least really good gear that came out even before any of the updates were added to Old School. Like, I mean, aside from the Brimstone ring and the Guardian boots that I'm wearing, most of this other stuff you could have gotten like at the beginning of the game just fine. Um, so yeah, I will say I'm reading one of my clan chat. Oh yeah, yeah. I was reading in a poll. They recently had some Slayer helm designs. Yeah, regarding the Slayer helm, I don't exactly fully remember if that was in Old School, like when it first came out. Like, I know the Black Mask was available. Um, Slayer helm may have been available, I think. But what I did like, what they did in the Old School was they eventually made it to where it also gave buffs to anyone who used magic and ranged, which I thought was neat, because that way it made range and magic methods a bit more viable for Slayer, which I thought was a good thing. Um, I think the only thing they could really maybe balance in the game now is maybe give more incentive to gather, because like I think all the Slayer drops or buffs, have been nice, where you can get a lot of like noted, uh, you know, um, either gems or papaya fruit or just a bunch of noted resources, or Zora. You can get like I think 100 noted sharks. Uh, but the only, I wouldn't say per se problem, but the thing is that I think the reason why those items were more expensive back then was because the only way you could get sharks was by actually fishing, where now you can get them via a lot of monster drops. And I'm not saying it's like the worst thing in the world, but maybe they could give like an incentive to where maybe when you fish you have a chance of getting a superior shark or something. I don't know, just like maybe like 1 out of 20 sharks you get a shark that heals for like 30 HP, or um and maybe make it to where the only way you could get that shark is actually by fishing. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could come up with something where they could make some of these gathering methods more desirable again. And then with woodcutting, maybe make it to where you cut a special log, or you have 1 in 50 chances of getting the special magic log, where if you craft it into a magic short bow, it gives you +4 more range than it would be crafting it from a regular magic log. So yeah, I think if yeah, something like that, because then that way it's like instead of like getting instead of just flooding all the gathering materials from like PVM. I mean, well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think they just need variance and skilling where they have like how with Slayer they have superior Slayer monsters. Maybe just have like a superior shark or just a variant shark that you can only get from fishing. So, just like you can only fight variant superior monsters through Slayer, like. I mean, it'd be nice to, actually chat with people in Catherby again, and it's like, hey, I got a superior lobster. This heals for 20 instead, or 18 instead of 14 or something, or 12, or however much. I'm actually using Bass right now, by the way. I actually realized it's been going up recently, but it's actually one of the cheaper high-end foods. It heals for around 13 HP, and when I bought them, they were around 80 to 90 GP. They've been slowly going up, but yeah, they're a nice food to use, and yeah, so you could do that for mining, fishing, wood cutting, farming maybe? I've never really done farming that much before, so I can't really say much about that, but at least mining, wood cutting, fishing for sure, they could work on that. Fire making. Oh, that's not really a gathering skill. I don't exactly know how they can make that more interesting, because I know that, ooh, Dragon Med Helm, that's a 1 in 128 chance, so. But yeah, I think they already have like a pets are there to incentivize more works than even past 99. Yeah, don't they? Yeah, um, pets for. Do they? I know they have them in RuneScape 3. I'm looking if they have them in Old School. Yeah, they have them in Old School. Yeah, I mean pets are nice, but I think if they just added like the superior supplies you could get from gathering, I think that would really help. Um, because then that way the fishermen, the miners, and woodcutters are like, well, maybe I don't do Zora 24/7, but at least I get better variants of shark once in a while, or better variants of runite ore, or better variants of magic logs. Um, and yeah, the clan chat just got really weird for a second there. I just joined it today, or at least from one of the discords, because I just wanted to see if I could socialize with other players on Old School. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, with fire making, I know in the new school, I think they had like something about lighting lanterns throughout the Gielinor, but oh, so as far as streaming is concerned, I mean, there's not too much to it. I just used OBS, or Open Broadcaster, like streaming service. Like, it's not too bad. I also use YouTube Live as well, which is pretty easy to set up. I use it over Twitch because I already have a following in YouTube, and I've also been doing YouTube for many years now, so I just prefer using it instead. Um, yeah, it's pretty easy to do. Um, I am also running a really nice PC that was graciously given as a winter holiday present. Um, so that helps. But yeah, there's nothing much to it. Yeah, it's very easy to set up. If you have any questions about it or any specific details, you can always give you some links or just answer any questions you may have about it. Any mics or specific equipment? At least for me, if my kind of quality works for you, I'll use audio quality. I just use a HyperX Cloud Stinger. You can get those for around anywhere from $30 to $50. They're not too expensive. That's all you really need. Um, I know some people like to use the Blue Yeti, or they'll buy the $200 to $1,000 headsets for microphones, but you don't really need to do all that if you're fine with just a regular quality. Um, yeah, you don't really need to invest that much. I mean, again, I'm not a professional streamer. I just do this for fun. But like, I can understand why, some people who maybe do this for a living may want the higher quality stuff. I mean, even if I did do this for a living, I might still be fine with what I have now, but I mean, it just depends on the person, I guess, to be honest. I mean, I know Nightmare RH for anyone who knows him. I mean, I think he uses a regular headset and he has a decent following. I think more of it has to do with him screaming and smashing, smashing stuff when he dies in the world. Could not. Oh, yeah, I just play the background music just because I figure it's relaxing. I sometimes do rain as well. And I guess for me it just works, if you enjoy it, then I'm happy that you enjoy it, and if you don't, you can always um potentially mute the noise on the stream, and I can always find another way to communicate with you. But let's see. Let's be able to flip out. Not my jam, but love the calmer streamers more than the content and the social aspect. Um, yeah. No, with the flip out, it's just, I don't want to say it's meme worthy. It's just, it's just kind of weird. But yeah, I, yeah, I definitely do appreciate it. I mean, Nightmare H, he has done streams before where he's actually a bit calmer, and I actually have talked to him a bit before, and he seems like a pretty chill dude. But as far as like other streamers I've watched, I don't really watch too many RuneScape streamers in general. I don't know why. I watch a lot of YouTubers who I guess put their streams onto YouTube and they put it in a YouTube video form. Where with me, I just put my streams, the whole stream on YouTube. They'll edit it or whatnot. I don't really know too much about how their streams go. Maybe you could enlighten me. Uh, but at least from what I've seen on YouTube, like usually it's them having clips of them either staking in the duel arena for millions of gold, or they're PKing 20 to 100 mil risk, which I think is a wee bit crazy, but I mean, I guess if some people like that stuff, then I guess it works. I just like to play the game simply for what it is. Like, it's like the thing with staking in general, like, it's not necessarily that's a bad thing, but there are a lot of people who will quit the game just because they lost their entire bank from either staking in the duel arena and losing, or PvPing near the Grand Exchange and losing their Armadale Godsword, or something that was worth their entire bank. And I mean, if people are doing that directly, like, if they bring those weapons in deep wildy, I guess that's one thing, but people are actively doing that, near the Grand Exchange just so they can double their 100 mil to 200 mil or something like that. I mean, I guess it works, but I guess after a while it's like, I feel like some of those streamers at that point, maybe they just focus mainly on, it's all about getting more gold potentially. Because, like, once you get so much gold, like, and then all you do is PK near the Grand Exchange, then, I mean, I guess it can work, but I guess it gets kind of old after a while, at least for me. It's like the game is so much more than just the Grand Exchange, or at least, doing stuff around there. You got your Slayer and bossing and PKing in the wildy and skills and questing and stuff, and um, maybe the other thing too is I have seen some people or YouTubers have like Slayer goals and they'll put it on YouTube. It's like, okay, we're gonna fight 200 gargoyles, and then they'll immediately cut to the next clip with them already defeating all the gargoyles, and they'll show the cash stack. With that, it's not bad, but and I don't know if they actually are socializing with people, like while they're fighting the gargoyles or on their Slayer tasks, but if they're not, then I can see how that can kind of get people to not be able to communicate as much, because sometimes it's the journey, not always the destination. So some people just prefer the boat ride from one side of the lake to another rather than just getting to the other side immediately. So I guess it all depends, like, how you enjoy content. Like, for me personally, I just kind of enjoy the whole process, like just actually watching the bossing or the Slayer, or just seeing people talk, and not just about, okay, I killed 200 gargoyles, let's fight 200 Necriols. 2 seconds later, okay, we defeated 200 Necriols, now let's fight 500 brutal black dragons. Boop. And then it'll go to the next thing and the next thing. Yeah, yeah, you definitely, it's, at least I think it's, helpful to socialize while you're doing the tasks, so people can actually relate with one another. So, but yeah, I know that was a long answer, but I guess it's the best way I could have described it. You know, it's not always about the loot tab, it's also about the enjoyment along the way, so. I might have to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna bank. Yeah, these brutal black dragons can hit quite hard, so I have to make frequent trips back and forth, but I think it's worth it. I actually am gonna go for a wee bit, just like for a minute. I'm just gonna get some water and I'll be back. Um, a moment. Oh, no worries. I definitely don't mind. I just like chatting from time to time, and I like communicating, so no worries there. Might want to give my throat a wee bit of a rest due to speaking a fair amount. That's why water is quite helpful. Oh. Doing pretty well with those blue dragon hides so far. We're at 52. I originally started with 179 brutal blue dragons and I had to go to the Grand Exchange after a while because I was out of stamp pots, but yeah, we're doing fairly well so far. Only 8 more levels to 99 defense, and 5 more to 99 hit points. Even though my attack and strength aren't the highest, since this was a rage tank account in the past, or mage tank as well, I guess. You know, some of my other stats are pretty high, so it helps make up for the attack and strength for now. No. I can't. Um, sure, not a problem. To put it simply, I run a Pokemon and yeah, let me. Yeah, I think sometimes when I speak a little bit louder, that's why my voice sometimes needs a wee bit of a rest, since I tend to have a deep voice, but um. I think, oh yeah. So with the eBay, I run a hobby store, specifically trading cards like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I've been doing it for the past 8 years now, around that amount of time. And, when I used to do it, when I first started, I didn't make too much. It was only like 50 to 100 a month, but I didn't mind because I really enjoyed it. But recently, well, with how many years I've ran in the store, and with the recent spike in or resurgence in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh's popularity again, or trading cards in general. It's really helped out my store a lot. I know there are a couple of things that people aren't too happy about, like with a lot of people buying out like sealed product in Walmart and Target, and recently them having embargoes or really restricting how many product people can buy in a lot of the stores. But other than that, I still been carrying onward. I still enjoy selling my singles that I get from different stores and local end sellers, big or small, and I just try to still keep the games alive and just make it creative and just bring joy to whoever buys stuff from me. I don't really buy sealed product as much. I'll buy it once in a blue moon, either when it's a really good deal, or if a store is trying to fire sell it because they have too much of it. But other than that, or if a store is closing, but other than that, I mainly stick to just singles or just buying private lots from different people and going that route. It used to be part-time, but as of this year, it's kind of become a full-time job for me. I've been able to cover all of my bills with it. I mean, I don't live in the most expensive part of the country. I live in the U.S., by the way. I live in Idaho, and as far as, the cost of living is concerned, even though housing prices are a wee bit high, as far as renting and, like car insurance and utilities, it's a fair amount cheaper than most of the other parts of the U.S. So it's not like I'm having to spend $3,000 in New York or San Francisco a month for rent and paying a bunch in taxes. So I mean, it's enough to at least cover like around 1100 in rent, if that gives you a reference, and like around 90 in car insurance and stuff like that. I mean, I also live a relatively simple life as well. Like, I just live in a garage apartment. Nothing too fancy. So yeah, I mean, if you're simple, relatively simple person, I mean, you don't need too much to live off of. I mean, 20 to 30,000 is just fine for me. I know some people prefer to make 100,000 or six figures plus a year, but I'm fine with what I make. Oh, I see. Yeah, if you're definitely a winter person, and you like the rural areas or rural countrysides, then definitely, places like Idaho, Montana, North South Dakota, even Minnesota could work, Iowa. I know a lot of people prefer living in the coastal states like Texas, California, Florida, New York. But if you're fine like living in like either rural areas or like rural areas that tend to be a little bit wintry, then I mean, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. Again, if you're a relatively simple person, then you should be just fine, to be honest. I mean, there aren't as many like places out here where people can kind of like, as far as like go to a bar like they would in the big city. But I mean, it's still fine, and you can still meet people here, and there are still some small bars you can go to, or hikes and stuff like that if you're into into the mountains and walk and going to the forest. But yeah, it's been a really good place, especially during COVID. It's been a really nice haven. But even not during COVID, I still really like the place, just because the people are generally friendly. I like the weather. it can get a bit used to, getting used to the winters and cloudy days, but if you're used to that, then you get used to it. It works out just fine. And there are also days too where instead of it being cloudy in the winter, it's just white skies of snow, which is nice. Oh, I've never heard of a glamper before. That's an interesting word. Sorry about that. It's not that I don't want to know some of these things. It's just I've just haven't picked up on all the nuances of acronyms or stuff or Urban Dictionary words as much as I guess like to, per se. And I forgot to put my prayer on again. Okay. Glamper, camper, cabins, and 2-star motels. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, I guess it's kind of like when you guys say like out on the Barbie, right? I hope I'm saying that right because I know different places have different ways of saying things. So, but yeah. Has Australia been fine for the most part during the pandemic? I don't. I mean, there's a streamer I watch called Ethis Asher. He does a Final Fantasy 14 podcast with Mr. Happy and Sly. But no shrimps on the Barbie. I cannot. Yeah, what is a Barbie, by the way? It's again, I just no, I know what Barbie dolls are, of course. I just don't exactly know what an actual Barbie is, like at least in Australian terms. So very lucky under. Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, well, I guess the good thing with Australia too is it's relatively isolated. Um, I don't know how many tourists you get there or how many. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. um, yeah, I don't know what the population in Australia is. I don't know if it's smaller or bigger than Canada. I've never really researched that, but I mean, I guess if your population size is not too bad, then I guess it helps. Plus, isn't Australia kind of spread out? Because I know there are like some cities like Sydney and um, another one starts with an M, I think. And I think there's like a big desert in the middle of your country, I think. Again, I've never really studied Australian geography that well, so I apologize if I don't know all the specifics, but oh, Melbourne. Okay, Perth. I mean, yeah, 26 million if you think about it. I mean, that is pretty big, but it is still smaller in population than population of California, which is kind of a wee bit, I wouldn't say unsettling, but it's just like, um, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that's the one good thing about Canada and in Australia. Well, I guess with Canada, the reason why their population's also not as much as the U.S. as well is because I don't know if a lot of the Canadians see parts of their country being uninhabitable, like the Yukon Territory and stuff. Because I've heard most of the Canadians live near the American border, like they live in British Columbia, or they live in Quebec, which is more towards the southern part of Canada. But yeah, I don't know if in Australia as well, the reason why your population isn't as big as the U.S. is maybe because, like, I don't know if people live in the like the central desert areas of Australia. I mean, I'm sure probably some people do, potentially, but because I mean, hey, if Americans are able to live in desert like Arizona or Texas, I, I, I mean, I'm sure there might be some Australians who may live in those climates as well, and I guess with the Canadians, I guess some of them just don't really like living in the northern tundra-like areas due to a variety of reasons, which I guess is understandable. But I mean, hey, not that many people live in North and South Dakota, so. But, yeah, I figured as much. Yeah. The other thing too with living in different parts of the country is that when you're away from a big city, you kind of have to. I want to be. I don't want to say be less choosy about the work you do, but I mean, if you have your own business or do remote work, it's not too much of a problem. But if you do live in those areas where they don't offer as much as quote unquote opportunities as people would say, then I guess you would have to take a bit of a pay cut working on some jobs that don't pay as much. But I mean, but for me, honestly, like if you're happy with the area, like even if you're getting paid less, like if you're happy with your living circumstances, I don't see that being a problem. I know it can be for some people because I know some people the reason why they don't want to move to Idaho or Montana versus staying in New York or parts of California is because they want to keep their 150,000 salary a year versus their 40 to 50,000 that they get here, which I guess is understandable. But I mean, to me, like again, I live a pretty simple lifestyle, so it's not like it's too much of a problem for me. But I know some people like making as much as they can so they can get like a big house or fund whatever expenditures they have. But yeah, I guess it's more of a lifestyle thing at the end of the day. I'm sure maybe in Australia it's the same thing too, potentially, where some people don't want to move to certain parts because of a pay cut or things like that. Um, and I guess, it could also be like, family as well. Like some people don't want to move away from their family that lives in the big city, and that can make sense as well, I guess. But yeah, I would say in the U.S., from the statistics I've seen, I think most people live in the warmer areas anyways. Like, aside from New York and maybe parts of the Northeast. Uh, I think it's could also be like a temperature thing as well. Going in terms of yeah, I mean, with the U.S. as well. I mean, there are a fair amount of immigrants that come to the country as well, and a lot of them may also not be used to colder climates as well. So that's why they potentially congregate, in Florida, Texas, or California because of the climate. Um, but I mean, um, yeah, if you're fine with colder weather, I don't see that being a problem. And I know in Australia that probably isn't the case because I don't know how your guys' winters are, if you guys even have winters, um, but yeah, I'd imagine probably people moving out to the desert is not so much a temperature thing per se as it is just maybe opportunities or I'm sure there are other factors involved. As you said, it mainly being small towns and miners and uh, farmers. So yeah, and some people I guess just prefer to live in the big city in general. Though I mean, it might be changing with COVID, at least for a time because of the pandemic. Like people don't want to be too close to one another, but I'm sure when the pandemic is over, I think it might change back. Like people may want to go back to the big city again. But I honestly don't know. I've always kind of preferred living in smaller towns or more rural areas anyways, but I guess as low as 20, nothing serious or fair. Yeah, and yeah, I wouldn't say I'm honestly surprised that there isn't more immigration to Australia. I don't know how your guys' immigration laws are. Or even, well, I guess Canada, maybe people are like, oh, it's too cold up there. But, yeah, um, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people immigrate to England, and that's fairly cool up there, so. Yeah, I figured as much. I heard some statistics about, how expensive it is trying to buy a house in Australia. So, yeah, and usually in the US as well, you'll see that the Midwestern states or the states up in the northwest-ish, like they are relatively cheaper than like houses near the water. Um, yeah, so it just kind of depends what works for you, because I know a lot of people like living near the ocean, but yeah, yeah, I hope that improves for you guys. I know we're kind of having a bit of of an issue ourselves, and I know I think even the UK is as well, but I'm sure things will balance out over time. And fortunately in the US, or at least where I'm living, they're building a fair amount of rental apartments, and the rent's pretty fair right now, so I don't see any issues of renting at the moment, just because even though I don't own a house per se, I still have a home and a roof over my head, and I think that's the most important thing at the end of the day. So yeah, so I don't mind waiting. And it also gives me, a chance to, potentially move to another state eventually if I wanted to, if I wanted to get a new change of pace or move to a new town. So, because a 30-year mortgage, I mean, at first, it may seem glamorous where people say, "Oh, you're building equity," but you're also stuck in that building for 30 years. So, at least if you're paying the mortgage normally. So, what states? Yeah, yeah. I don't know how much rent is in Australia. Oh, what states have you lived in? I've only lived, well, I've been to multiple different states, but I've only actually lived in two. I've only lived in Florida and Idaho. And both of those states, I would say in Idaho you're getting a wee bit of a better deal renting than buying at the moment because of the amount of, people trying to come in during the pandemic. Like you can rent a nice apartment for $1,100 instead of having to pay over a quarter million for a house, which I think is pretty fair. Um, I don't know how much it is to rent versus buy a house in Australia, but I mean, even if it's a wee bit more, like, if you see the cost as it being, well, at least I don't have to overpay for a house because a lot of people are doing that right now with the bidding wars going on. And also with the mobility and also the maintenance you're offered, I think, it all kind of balances out. I mean, if you're really one of those people that really has to own a house, then I can understand why some people would want to go down that route. But if you're fine renting for a certain amount of years and just being able to give yourself time to assess your situation, then I don't see that being a problem. Um, and I guess maybe in Australia it could also be where you live as well, because I know you were saying most of the coastal homes are expensive, but maybe you could move to like more to the central part of the country, and I mean, I don't know if if there are also like weather conditions of why people don't want to move there, because I know in the U.S. a lot of people don't move to the Midwest due to like tornadoes and stuff, which could potentially, total their houses. I don't know if that's the same thing in Australia, or if you guys have like some kind of like desert storms or something. But um, and again, it could just be a family thing as well, where people just don't want to move from their families, and I'm kind of a person that's fine living on my own for the most part, but I know a lot of people prefer to be close to their family, so uh, oh, so 5% per year. Wait, hold on. I'm just doing some quick math real quick. Oh wow, so you're saying rent in your place is over like 3,000? Oh, yikes. That's yeah, here where I live, at least in Idaho, I'm getting a garage apartment that's essentially the paint was drying off when I moved into the place. For yearly, it's around if I also include water, sewage, and garbage my cat rents. Well, it was around 13,000 last year. It's going to be around $14,106 this year. But I do get like a garage, and I also get a storage unit. I don't know if you guys get that in Australia. I also get like an office room and stuff. Um, yeah, so I would say I pay a fair amount less than you guys do. Again, I'm not close to the ocean, and it does get fairly cold here in the winter. So that might be a factor, but yeah, and our house prices here are around a third of what you guys. Well, maybe a bit more for a short period of time due to people coming in, but they're typically like $250,000 to 300,000. So a little bit, still a little bit more than what I'd like to spend. I'd prefer to spend around 100 to 150,000, or potentially a wee bit less, but possible. But yeah, I'll say I'm a relatively major city. Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. Um, yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, if you want to stay in that city, then I guess maybe it makes sense to buy the $250,000 home. But if you're fine being able to move, then yeah, I guess it all comes down to personal preference, like what you like. So. Yeah, but that's yeah the housing prices you guys have that are pretty much California to New York prices, pretty much. So, but I mean, I'm sure there are things that attract people to Australia, maybe like the warm weather and a number of other factors. So, but again, even colder climates like England and parts of Ireland and Scotland also, you know, are a bit expensive. Have a bit of expensive housing right now. Um, Probably not as much as Australia per se, but yeah, I've been to a couple places outside of the country. I've been to Italy, I've been to England, I've been to Canada, I've been to South America, and I've been to Japan. I've never been to Australia before, so I can't tell you much about that. But I have been to some countries, or some other countries rather. Um, but yeah. But yeah, how about yourself? Have you traveled to other countries before? Oh, we are basically a sunnier version of the UK. Okay, yeah, that would make sense because, since the English colonized Australia, there probably were a lot of immigrants from England. Uh, but I mean, hey, I guess if people like the culture and they like the warm weather, then then I can see how that can play a part in people really liking the place and I guess property values and whatnot. Oh, nice. I think The Lord of the Rings was filmed in New Zealand, I think. At least parts of it were, so. But, yeah, hmm. Yeah, would you say you like your country, by the way? I mean, I don't want to say, I don't want to say that. I don't want you to think that I want you to say that you don't like your country. But is there like any, like, would you ever want to consider moving elsewhere, or do you really like Australia to where do you feel like being born and raised there, that you would like to stay there, either due to the family work or just because, you like the region? Or culture. I mean, I'm sure with COVID as well, you probably moving is the last thing on your mind, but I don't know, just for the foreseeable future, I would say xenophobia. Okay, yeah, I guess... Oh, did someone drop a dragon? Well, I don't want to pick up his drop. Is that a... Hold on. Give me a moment. Oh, let's see. Yeah, if the dude comes back asking where his drop is, I can always give it back to him if he really wants it, but I, I didn't want that to just disappear, because, it's someone could use that dragon longsword, maybe a D-long boy. Oh yeah, but back to what you were saying though, sorry about that. So, the xenophobia, I guess I can see that with, Australia kind of being isolated, where it's literally an island. I can see why people can get a bit weary like that. I mean, even in Idaho, I mean, it is changing now, but even Idaho for a wee while was a little bit weary of outsiders, but it was more so due to their cost of living and other people trying to change their culture rather than, I think, the people in general. I don't know if in Australia, if it's also that, like, they don't want people because of, prices going up or people moving in trying to change their way of living. I mean, Idaho is also a wee bit conservative as well, so maybe it's a different dynamic altogether. It could also, I don't know if in Australia it could also be because of tourists or just a number of other factors. Because I also heard that Australia has a decent chunk of Oriental people there too, and I don't know if that causes any issues. But or I don't know if sadly still some. Oh yeah, that's kind of how like Idaho is to an extent, and also parts of the U.S. I think that's anywhere you go, honestly. Whether it's England or America or Canada. Yeah, it's probably anywhere. So agents and how. Hmm. Yeah, that's good to hear. Um, yeah, I'm gonna check if that player's back. Nope. I wonder if that person's a bot, by the way, and if she's just not picking her drops or something. I I would hope not, but or maybe she just has so much gold that it doesn't matter. Um. Anywho, let's see. Now they're a great community. Yeah, well, that's good to hear. Because I know, especially with COVID, or at least in the U.S., I don't know if it's happened in Australia as well, where a lot of people. I mean, there were some clips I saw on YouTube of people being telling some people to go back to China, even with some of them not being Chinese due to COVID. So, um, broad bolts a bit strange to use against brutal blues. Mm, I wouldn't say it's strange. I mean, if you want to use it, you can. The only reason I'm not using it is because I have 99 range, and I'm trying to level up my other stats right now, like attack, strength, and defense. If I was leveling range, I wouldn't say broad bolts would be a bad thing to do. It's just I want to just level up my melee stats, and it's also a good way to learn how to tank as well, because you're ta taking a fair bit of damage at times. So Um, I see. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure the hierarchy of people who were saying that in the U.S. I mean, they could have been billionaires or they could have only had 2 cents to their name. Honestly, don't know, but oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, they are using rod bolts. Yeah, I honestly don't know if he's a bot. I mean, he could be, he couldn't be. Maybe he just is antisocial as well. I couldn't honestly tell you. It seems like he's using a dragon crossbow. That's a little bit weird though how he's positioning himself because if you look at, he's not even facing the dragon. Well, now he is, but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a person has dropped stuff before. Because I also saw it at Fire Giants as well, where someone literally left a rune battle axe or a rune 2H, and it was like a rare drop table item on the floor. And I didn't pick it up at first because it's like, oh, maybe the guy just needs some time to pick it up. And after 2 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick it up. And as soon as I tried to pick it up, it was gone because it was on the floor for too long. So. Well, yeah, he's leaving Dragon D-Hide on the ground. So either he's a bot or he just doesn't care about drops at all. Like he just wants the experience. Like could be a number of factors, I guess. But yeah, I usually try to bank and stuff because you know Slayer experience is nice, but you know I also like trying to build my account as well, so because I know some people like canning to get as much Slayer Slayer experience an hour as possible, but I don't know, I prefer just to do it regularly. I'm using Runelight actually. Um, yeah, I can't quite AFK right now or check his stats completely because I'm having to take damage from him right now from the dragon. But his name is I guess Herb Ziza. If you at least want to like look at his name, like or at his. Cause I think there's like a calculator, RuneScape calculator, where people check their max hits or something, and or if you're using a client yourself, you might be able to see it. Um, I don't know if uh, there's high schoolers, but I mean, my my game does glitch out a bit though when I use the plugin. His stats are pretty average. He has 99 strength and 90 defense, so yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you. 84 range. Yeah, maybe he just doesn't care about drops because I mean, I'll see if another Dragon Longsword drops, but I mean, if a Vissi drops on the ground and he still doesn't pick it up, it's either he's a bot or He just really does not care about gold whatsoever. Yeah. He might just have a big cash stack or something. May just not really care about it, or maybe he's playing like a weird, not bronze man mode, but maybe some other kind of mode of RuneScape that we don't know about. I don't know. I mean, hey, someone could use those hides, so. I might have to come back for this one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to come back. Maybe he's also AFKing as well. Maybe watching Netflix or something. I uh I wouldn't say I hope not, but I doubt it. I mean, maybe. I'm pretty sure he's just watching Netflix or something, but I don't really watch Netflix, by the way. The only reason why I mentioned Netflix is I know a lot of people mention that whenever they talk about AFKing on RuneScape or playing other games, and I know that's a popular choice for a lot of people. I actually just mainly watch YouTube, or if I'm watching anime, I either watch it on YouTube or another site, generally. I don't really watch movies too much, so I don't really have a need for Netflix, to be honest, but I know a lot of people use it, so I just find other ways to entertain myself, I guess. Okay, what is this? Get not with this dude. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like in Idaho, I generally enjoy hiking from time to time, or even if I'm not hiking or don't want to walk a lot on a certain day, I'll just go up the mountain and just sit beneath a tree, and that'll be more than enough for me. 'Cause you know, sometimes even if you don't feel like walking or hiking too much, you can at least enjoy nature and sit beneath a tree, and I think that's more than enough. Oh, not a problem. Again, I tend to enjoy communicating with other people, so it's no issues. And I hope you've been enjoying the chat and stream as well. It's definitely been passing this brutal blue dragon task pretty well because before it felt like it was taking forever, but now that I've been having some interesting conversations on stream, it's been passing a bit more. As you can see, I'm dropping these bass whenever I need to pick up items, and once I eat the bass, I pick it back up, and yeah, it's been good so far. Or a good strategy, rather. Yeah, they used to be cheaper, like, I bought them when I first came back, I think they were 80 to 90 GP, and they were actually cheaper than tuna by like 30 GP, but they also healed three more. But I think now, recently, they've gone up, I guess either due to me buying them, or maybe due to other people buying them, or not as many people fishing them, so, or whatnot, so, but... Yeah, they're pretty nice. They heal more than lobsters, actually, by one. And they don't heal as much as swordfish, but they're still pretty decent. Yeah, the only dragons they're missing here are the brutal green dragons, but I guess they wanted to keep that exclusive to that one dungeon with the mithril dragons, which I guess is alright. Maybe also they didn't want to crash green d'hide more than it potentially already. Ooh, dragon longsword. Then potentially it already has been via bots or people in the wildy farming the green dragons or the regular ones, so. I'd have to check. I think there's one blue dragon under Heroes Guild, but I'm not sure about Brutal Greens though. Yeah, I still got this curry as well, which will help. I might be able to stay for this KO. It might be close though, because they do max for 21s, so we'll have to see. If I get below 50 HP, I'll probably break for it, but... Oh boy. Oh wow, that's yeah. I'll have to see if I can get the drop by the time I come back, depending on how long it's on the ground for. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I tried to go for that fifth one, but that was just a wee bit too close. I'll see if I can get back there quickly enough to pick up the loot, but at least we got the dragon longsword. Let me eat these bass. Again, most people don't even melee brutal blue dragons because, again, you have to come in there with a good setup and mindset. But I think it's definitely been worth it so far. It's kind of a nice way to practice tanking, and it's good to train up those melee stats, and also saves you on ammunition, which is nice. I think the drops stay for at least 5 minutes, I think. I could be wrong though. We'll have to check and see, unless someone's already picked them up. I think they're still there, yep. We'll see if we can get the rune longsword at least. Oh, hold on. There we go. Let's see. Yep, we were able to still get the loot, which was pretty good. Oh yeah, that was pretty close. I mean, hey, that rune longsword could be an elk for someone, or maybe someone who just needs it. Yeah, potentially. So I think it's at least 5 minutes or something. There we go. Ooh, that's a decent drop. Alright. I do a couple more runs before I finish the stream eventually, but I've definitely been enjoying the conversation so far that we've been having, I'm glad you've been enjoying the content so far, and I hope my other viewers are also enjoying the content as well. It's alright, no worries. I know some people prefer to be a wee bit quiet when watching streams, so I don't mind. As long as they enjoy it somewhat. Um, that's the important thing. Um, but I'm glad you've been enjoying it. Let's see here. I'm actually gonna get a bit more water. Alright, I'm back. Just got my water. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you appreciate the conversations. Again, I don't mind communicating and things like that, so whether it's through voice or through text chat, so and I hope my other viewers have been enjoying the conversations as well. Oh wow. Yeah, that was a pretty quick run. I think once I get my stats and my melee stats higher, like even unpotted, it'll probably make these runs a wee bit easier in the long run. But so far we've been doing alright, which is good. Hmm. Oh, interesting. This guy, if a dragon full. Oh, whoa. I thought he was actually good. I think he just wanted to poke the dragon because just to get at him, but dragon full helmet, full bandos. I thought he was literally gonna melee him with the smoke battle staff or the mystic staff. I mean, I think he could have done it, but Dragon Dagger, another rare drop. That's 1 out of 128, I think. Yeah, we've gotten pretty good drops here. I mean, aside from the Dragon Longsword I've got from the Red Dragon, here I've got the Runeplate Body, Dragon Medhelm, Dragon Longsword, Dragon Dagger. That's 4, 1 out of 128 rare drops, and only less than 100 runs or defeats with these guys. So hasn't been too bad so far. Ooh. Yeah, their melee can be can hit a bit as well, but fortunately we have pretty high defense, so that helps a fair amount. Oh, another rare drop, a loop half of a key. It's a rare drop table item, but that's still pretty decent. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Oh, it's not too bad. Let him in plate legs. If I drop to 50%, then I'll probably go. Yep. Could have been a wee bit better of a run, but it's okay. I mainly sell the heads. I don't have the Arceus spellbook, so I unfortunately don't have a way to actually train prayer with them at the moment. But even if I did, I probably would still just maybe use the Dragon Bones because I just figure it's a good method to use. But I know people also reanimate heads as another way to train prayer, so I just haven't really looked too much into it. So I basically have just been selling the heads to people who can use it. So player-owned house. I really don't like training prayer in the wildy because that chaos altar is multi. Yeah, so I mean, it could work. It's just, especially if you're bringing a large amount of bones, it's like, yeah, it could work. Just depends on if you like to do it or not. And then as far as Ecto, it's fine as well. I think I just prefer to do it in the player-owned houses because then I get to talk to people as well while I'm running. I think eventually we'll get 99 prayer. It's just something that will just take some time, but I think we'll get there eventually. Yep. Yeah, Yanel is usually a pretty decent place to do it at. So, yeah, that can work as well. Yeah, I think I'll probably just do one more run after this one, and I think I'll call it an evening. I hope you've enjoyed the content so far. Definitely talking and being able to share some experiences of mine definitely has helped pass by the stream. Yeah, or at least I'm just gonna probably just chill for a bit or make myself some bagel snacks and maybe just lay in bed for a bit before I go to bed. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad, and thank you for a bit of the Australian lesson as well. It's very much informative. Yeah, and I also know you probably don't see people fighting brutal blue dragons every day, but I hope it's been a nice change for you. So. Yeah, most people also don't melee these dragons in general either, but again, I just... Thanks. I just feel like it's a good way to learn how to tank, and it's not too bad XP either. Oh well, god, dude. Just yeah, maybe I can, we'll see how we drop to 50, we can always go back sooner. Ooh, okay. I was pretty close, but hey, at least we tried. Yeah, so I'll do one more run after I bank, and then I'll call it an evening. Other than... I think their best drop is a dragon longsword, I think. I can check. Dragon longsword, dragon med helm, which I got both of those on this trip. Rune plate body, I got this, not this stream, but previous stream I did. Dragon dagger, rune full helm. Yeah, and I guess if you're on a Kanar task, you can get a brimstone key. I guess that drops from a lot of these catacomb monsters if you're on her tasks. Yeah, other than the Dragonic Visage, the best drops are like dragon items, which aren't too bad. I don't really do clues that much. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I just sometimes I just prefer to just hold off on them because either I don't want to go into the wildy for them, or I just want to just focus on Slayer or other things. So I might do them eventually. I just haven't wanted to do them as of late. So. Yeah, I can see that, yeah. Yeah, they're pretty neat. I just... sometimes I just, I guess I just sometimes have to get in the mood for it. Like, sometimes I want to do it and sometimes I'm just like, eh. But, yeah, they can be pretty neat at times, though. Just be careful for those ice barrages. Or getting into multi. Because that can get pretty bad. Oh, can hardcore Iron Man not go into the wildy, or? Oh, Oh yeah, I guess you can't bank your stuff either, I think, right? Or you have to hold on to most of it. Oh, there's a... Okay. Now he's ranging brutal blue dragons, I guess. Ooh, yeah. Ouch. Yeah, I can see how that can be an issue. Well, I guess even if you don't go to the wildy, I mean, there are some monsters that can KO you if you're not careful. Like I died from demonic gorillas a couple days ago, but that was more so because my HDMI cord fell off of my monitor and my screen went dark for a wee while, and then once it came back on, I mean, I was still alive. I just didn't have time to switch prayer and stuff, but yeah, it happens. I got all my items back though. But yeah, those gorillas can be a pain though if you're not careful. It happens though. Oh, yeah, thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, and if you want to stop by again or chat, feel free to, and I hope you have a good rest of the evening. Take care. Alright, just gonna get these real quick before I go. That might be very rare drop table items potentially. Just gonna deposit these in the bank and then I'll add the street there. Alright guys, I think that's gonna be the end of the stream. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I hope you all take care. Peace.